Hello everybody, my name is Paul. I'm a country realtor in the western part of Virginia. And today I'm going to talk about things that will really help you if you want to sell your home, and things that can make the process go a lot smoother and even maybe save you quite a bit of money. And sometimes, for one thing, is obviously presentation is everything. These days, if you don't have a very good photographs of your property and you put it out there online, a lot of people will reject it. They won't see the highlights of the best features of your property. And if you have the wrong kind of lens on your camera, it'll distort the image. And be careful about what's actually in the photograph, because you don't want to reveal too many personal things sometimes if you put your pictures up there on the internet. So it's very important to get some really good pictures. Not all realtors know how to take good pictures, honestly. I was a professional photographer for a number of years, so I have some experience in that area. But if you have the wrong kind of lens, as I said, it can really distort some things. And as long as the viewer knows that it's a wide-angle lens and your little bedroom is only 8 by 10 and not 20 by 30, that's fair enough. But you have to have some decent pictures. And also watch out for the color and the lighting that's in the pictures. So that's one thing, a presentation. Now the same thing applies to outside. Anything you can do to remove clutter, because there are people who are going to maybe buy your home someday and they're going to think, oh, this is my lovely home, I can't wait till I get it and everything. And yet if the first time they see that home it's all cluttered and dirty and ugly, it's just not going to feel very good. It's not going to be something that they're eager to look at. Only the bold look at those kind of houses. So just fair enough. Get your house ready outside. Clean up the bicycles and the lawnmowers and the things that don't belong there and stuff like that. And just generally pick up. And when you do take pictures, don't have your car license plate in the driveway when you take pictures of your property, because that's not, that's just not very good for privacy. So the presentation is very important. Now, we're going to get into the paperwork. A lot of people say, I want to sell my house, and the realtor says, okay, let's see what you got in your paperwork. And then they go, well, I don't know where that is. Honey, do you have the key to the safe? And that kind of conversation happens. So before you even list it, if the glimmer in your eye is, hey, honey, let's sell the house this year, maybe start getting your paperwork together, because that way you will be so much ahead of everybody, and it will save you so much time. The things, here's what you need. Any kind of like documentation of repairs that you did on your home, that would be very helpful. Any kind of manuals or instructions that came with water heaters and equipment that's in the house, and there's a lot of stuff that you might have in there that go with the house, like your water filters or so on, and dryers and so on. Have that kind of stuff ready. That's helpful to a buyer. Like, hey man, honey, look, they have all the records here. That's great. So that really also speeds up the process. If you have just a really nice presentation with the documentation of the utility and the appliances in the house. Now, as far as you need a record of your septic tank. If you have a septic tank, have it inspected, find out where it is. There's so many delays in sales because someone can't find where the septic is and they don't have a map or whatever. There are town records on the Graphic Information System, GIS system, for every county in the state, in the country. And it has a lot of abundant information for you about everything. There's flood zones, where the wires are, where the schools are, where the the creeks and ponds are, and sometimes there's satellite overlay, and they show, it's just topographic maps. And the plat map, you can print out the property information. If you have a plat map, when the realtor comes to look at your house and say, okay, let's see your documentation, and you pull out like one piece of paper or two pieces of paper, the realtor's going to like, oh boy, we got some work to do here. See, there's things that the buyer's going to ask for. They're going to spend a lot of money buying your house. So they're going to be a little nitpicky because they're spending a lot of money. You want to get rid of the house as fast as possible, I'm sure. But they don't want to buy it as fast as possible if it doesn't have the right kind of documentation to make them feel confident in their purchase. So, a survey. Not many people have a survey. A survey was done originally. Most places have been surveyed by now. There are times when you do a lot line adjustment between two properties, you merge a couple properties or something, and there's disputes that happen on property lines. So if you have a pretty good idea, at least a plat map, what they call a plat map, the tax map, it has an ID number and has some other information on it. Uh, then you can find out exactly where the boundaries are in your property if you don't have a survey. A survey can be very expensive, especially a big piece of land. Yeah, it can be kind of expensive, although they do have really good equipment today. But you still got to hike out into the area and stand there and take a reading. So surveys are really nice. The realtors love that when you have a survey. So do the buyers. When you transfer the property to another owner, they love it if you have good documentation, because then that's their special thing, because you might be selling to somebody who's extremely fastidious about documents. And if they don't see good things when they ask for your documentation, then it's just going to be delayed. Because usually you can go to the county records, you get a new deed printed out, and so on. You can gather some information because it's records, but again, the receipts from property improvements that you did are also really helpful, because that shows if you want to justify a price. You say, look, the reason I'm asking for this price is because I put this like really, really special air filtration system in my house, or something like that. Or I have a really great jacuzzi or a big fabulous deck or something like that. Then you can say, look, that's why the property is worth a lot more than my neighbor's, because he doesn't have those things. See, proof, paperwork really matters in real estate. So, clutter in your house. The people who buy your house are going to be walking around, and there might be lots of them. They're going to be looking around thinking, where can I put my couch? Where can I put my table, my desk? What room am I going to use for my office? And so on. They're going to be thinking like that. And if you have all the rooms just like filled up with stuff, especially if it's oddball things, like, kids' rooms can get so crazy sometimes, as you know, and even adults' rooms do. But just thin it out, thin it out. Clutter, declutter, declutter, declutter as much as possible. All those magazines that are sitting there, just gather them out, throw them away, or take them out of the house or something. But make the house look open and clean and big and ready for someone to say, okay, man, I'm ready to move in. Because there's houses, as you know, that I've driven by many houses, and you can just tell by looking at their yard that they're not moving anytime soon. And even if they want to sell their house, it'll probably be a year before they get it ready. So these are things that you can do to help yourself and the broker who's going to list your house. Now, let me take a look at my list here, for example. The first impressions, the work done, a survey, tax map, a 1031 exchange. That's another biggie. I had a property last year that they wanted a 1031 exchange. What that is a government program that if you buy another property similar, there's certain regulations and rules about the timing of it. You have to, I think it's in 90 days, and you transfer the sale of one property and you get it into another one, and you save on your taxes. You see, now a lot of times in the case I had, they wanted a 1031 exchange, but they didn't identify the property that they want until like a week before the closing. And then all of a sudden we go like, okay, you better call up the attorney and get the 1031 exchange paperwork. Fortunately, we found somebody there are companies who deal with that paperwork, and basically it means you got to get, there's sort of an escrow fund to say, okay, until I get paid on the house that I'm selling, and it's got to go through a process, but all those funds are earmarked and held in an escrow so that that money can't be spent on anything else. It's going for the new property that you're going to buy. So if you're going to do a 1031 exchange in your property, tell the agent right away and keep reminding him. And if you find something that you want to do the 1031 exchange on, you see, if the property hasn't sold yet, but you have the property in mind, but let's say it takes 90 days, okay, well, you can't get that property because it hasn't closed yet. So there's a process that you need to get involved with your lawyer and the documentations, okay? So that's, something to be aware of when you sell your house. So I think I've covered most of it, but again, walk around your house and look at it with a critical eye. Look at your roof, look at your basement, look at your foundation, look at everything, and think to yourself, if I was buying this house, would I buy this now? Would this bother me if I saw the mold in the basement or whatever? Mold, by the way, that's a whole other issue, but there are ways to treat it and get rid of it. Find the source of the problem first. But make sure your house is ready to go, because there are people out there. I was in a market last year in Waynesboro, Virginia, where we had to bid 3 times on a house because we had to keep escalating we had what they call an additional bid contract, where it escalates the bid until you win, at least up to a certain number. We won by $1,000 on a property. So there are properties that sometimes sellers are ready to go, but they got 7, 10 offers in a week, and then they're ready to go. So you want to be ready when you are ready to sell. If someone walked in your house tomorrow morning and said, okay, I'll pay your price, what do you want? And said, well, that'll take a few months for me to get ready. That's not going to work for them, you see. So thanks again for listening. Please listen to some of my other videos. I really appreciate the feedback and sharing and liking. I'm putting out some information to help people buy and sell real estate. I'm a country realtor. I specialize in land and recreation and homesteads. I have this site here on YouTube that you're seeing, and I have a little website called Virginia Homesteads, VirginiaLandowner.com. And basically it's a simple site that links to here. But Virginia is a wonderful place for homesteading and rural land recreation. It's beautiful, got a lovely climate. Come on down, all right? My saying is about Virginia: visit for fun, stay for life. So thanks again for listening.